Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Fierce Fight for Perfect Cell. So this is a brand new Fierce Fight event for Perfect Form Cell, and it's pretty cool overall. Obviously it follows the same kind of trend as other Fierce Fight events, so you need to do the first stage to unlock the character. And then you can obviously proceed through the stages, completing the challenges as you go along. Eventually you will unlock 3 bonus stages at the end. One will be a bonus stage for daily Z power, the other 2 will be for equipment and for a Z power bonus. Overall, Cell looks pretty cool. His special move obviously destroys 2 enemy cards, which is pretty good. He draws a special card next on his main ability. He restores ki with his special skill. He has some pretty interesting effects. Nothing too crazy. He's obviously blast damage orientated, which is always helpful. And just overall, he applies some debuffs. He looks like a pretty interesting mid-level option for a lot of teams. Now, in terms of the standard procedure for Fierce Fights, obviously you'll receive Z power every time you complete a stage. You'll also receive Z power from completing the missions for each of those stages. There are also some event missions that will give you Z power once you have completed them. And is also going to be a full power battle in future for an additional 3,000. Now, you don't need to obviously get the full kind of benefit of it, but I think for the most part the fastest way will be to finish the full power battle. Otherwise you run the bonus battle stages and you'll be fine from there. Please be aware that while you're completing the stages, it is best to take on the challenges. You want to finish the challenges, you really should, because it is going to help you out a lot overall, and it is going to make your life a lot easier. With that being said, we are going to build the team. Now, it's very important that for the first stage, just as a heads up to everyone, you do not need to use this cell. You don't need to use the yellow cell that drops from the stage. You can actually use the any cell. Like, we're going to use first form cell. So as long as you use any unit that pretty much has cell in the name, you shouldn't really have that many issues with the stage. With the challenges. So you don't have to specifically use the yellow cell that drops from this event. You only have to use him specifically for the challenge stage at the end. Now, just as a heads up again, obviously guys, be very aware of your challenges as you are taking on the stage. You're really going to want to finish your challenges as you go along, because it is going to help you out a lot. It's going to save you a lot of time, and it's just going to make things a lot more efficient, I think, for the most part. Now, in terms of Fierce Fight Cell, he's pretty decent. I don't want to say he's fantastic. I think Legends needs to really work on its free-to-play units. I think it needs to make them a little bit better. I feel like they just don't exist in the meta. They don't do anything. Even if they are just really good on one team and that team gets faded out at some point, I feel like it's better, because right now they just don't have a purpose really, and I feel like that's always a bad thing. Even in Dokkan, free-to-play units will be good for at least one thing, whether that's one stage or one event, or even if it's just used to EZA other units. At least they have a purpose, even if all their EZAs is just to be for an EZA. It's the same, it needs to be the same in Legends. You need to have value in farming these units. Right now there's not that much value in farming them. Cell does decent stuff. I guess he helps to set up for Kid Buu, destroying cards on the special move, applying additional blast damage bonuses to the enemy inflicting the enemies with damage received. It's okay. Like I don't, he's not remotely spectacular, but he's just a kind of unit that I definitely use. Well, not definitely use, that you can kind of use from time to time. In terms of Cell himself, just remember part of the missions and challenges is going to be raising his level and soul boosting him. So make sure that you do these because you are going to have to use them for the challenge stages anyway. So if you do want to fully 14 star him, then obviously it's highly suggested that you like complete the challenges and then also fully raise his level and soul boost him. So yeah, once you complete all of the first couple stages, you will obviously come to this part where you unlock these 3 stages. One is a daily boost stage, one is a equipment stage, and one's a Z-Power stage. Before you do any of this, I highly suggest you skip and farm some of the currency from the stages here so that you can buy the additional 2000 Z-Power that you get from the shop. It'll take about 130 skip tickets or so, but it's really going to help increase your performance with Cell, and it's going to help you do a lot better overall in terms of completing the other stages. So highly suggest you do that first. Obviously we'll do the daily challenge stage for additional Z power as well, so that we can try and obviously push that as far as we can. But yeah, overall it obviously follows a very similar pattern to the previous Fierce fights. There's nothing too I want to say wild about these Fierce fights or anything like that. In terms of Cell himself, as mentioned before, I think he's just average. He's not really particularly impressive. He doesn't really blow my mind or make me feel like he's an absolute unit. He brings in new equipment to the stage, but even the equipment itself doesn't necessarily feel amazing. 15% blast attack, 15% 10% base health, and another 15% blast attack is pretty good, but Kid Buu already has like 3 really good equipments that are going to kind of run with him for that. He's got obviously a couple plat equips which are pretty nuts, and just overall it just doesn't really make huge sense to me. You have other abilities that can just kind of do a lot more, and I think it's a nice pickup, but I don't think it's an absolutely necessary pickup. So he's got a decent equipment. He himself is decent, but it all feels very 6 out of 10. It doesn't feel like there's an absolute tremendous amount going on. After you complete the daily stage, I do suggest that you go for the equipment stage next. Generally speaking, I find the equipment stage is better, not only if you are a new player. That's a little bit easier. You're not limited to just using Cell, but it does obviously drop the equipment, which you can technically use to really improve Cell, because it is decent. I mean, 10% health and 30% blast damage is perfect for Cell, so you can definitely do that, and it should be able to help you out. The other one is obviously the Kamehameha ultimate equipment, which increases blast, base attack, base strike defense, special move damage, etc. So that obviously helps him out a lot as well, quite a bit. So if you do need those equipments, they will help you out. Highly suggest picking them up. The ultimate equipment for obviously the Android Cell Saga, which will be a little bit difficult to get, but then also the Cell equipment itself. Both of them are going to help you out a lot, and both will make Cell way more powerful than he is right now. Remember also that there are still challenges for the equipment stage, so you really want to make sure that you clear the challenges. They're not so straightforward, it's just being time based like the other ones were. So remember doing that. That's kind of why we're not using the Rising Rush here, because obviously that is a requirement. But yeah, overall I think the Fierce fights are cool. I like the events. They're very simple. They let you grab a pretty okayish, decent event exclusive unit, and generally speaking the unit does help out a team, I guess. Like it doesn't hinder a team or anything like that. Obviously, Cell is, if you're a player that's missing a team bonus kind of unit for regeneration or Android or something like that, then you can obviously use Cell. If you're not, like, if you're not missing that kind of unit, then there's no real need in picking him up. That's kind of how it feels. But obviously there is some incentive, I guess, to picking him up. Obviously there's still some value in picking up Cell. So yeah, for the most part, I just think they could do a little bit better in terms of just making these units really good. Even if you make them super restricted, like Cell is only good when he's on a team with 17 and 18, for example, or Cell is only good when he's on teams with other Cells. Like, rather limit him and then have him just help players that want to run Cell teams than be a unit that just no one's probably going to use that much, except for like brand new players or for other like exclusive events and stuff like that. So yeah, I just think that's the best way to go about it. For this final challenge fight, obviously it's for an additional 500 Z power. I did make some changes, so I did fail this fight, I think once or twice. And basically just made some changes. Obviously, I went through my team first. I moved out the purple Vegeta, for example. Picked up a lot more regen-based units. I remember, because you're only selecting one unit, the team leader skill is not going to apply to Cell, so replace all the members with either event exclusive or regen, or whichever kind of boosts you can give Cell the most. Obviously is something that's great. Hit your Rising Rushes, it's obviously something that's pretty important, but also to switch in the AGL Junior Cell, or Cell Junior, AGL Blue Cell Junior, I should say, because it is going to be able to help you out for the most part. They do apply quite a few buffs, or debuffs I should say, to the enemy, which actually will help you out in terms of your overall damage. So I do suggest that you try and switch them into like debuff the enemy, and it will help you out. As you can see, as we enter, we debuff the enemy, and generally speaking, it's something that does indeed help. You can also use them to tank a couple of hits or break a combo generally. The AI doesn't usually follow, I mean it does here, but it doesn't usually follow up with like a whole like finishing blow type thing. So generally speaking, you can usually switch them in to try and save a little bit. But yeah, so we're gonna jump ahead to obviously when I finish the battle, and you'll see that it's still a really close fight. Like, we have the Cell here, we're going to switch him in, but even then it still ends up being rather close. Like, I think I win off of the back of them not finishing a combo, which is always like a thrill to do. So yeah, it is generally speaking quite obviously difficult, and a lot of players are going to struggle with it. If you are struggling with it, work on your equipment first. Grab some of the better equipment for Cell. Also, not to forget, but there is a daily bonus stage, so try and work on that as well, so that you can get an additional 1000 Z power from the event missions. Raises Friendship as well. This will also allow you to get additional Z power from the event missions. And yeah, just in general, try your best to obviously get as much Z power for him as possible, because that's going to be where you get a lot of decent strength. But also, I would suggest that you do look at obviously working on his equipment, because it does count a lot. And if you have the better equipment, you're probably going to augment his performance quite a lot, especially in these kind of one-on-one challenges where you basically forced to use the unit. Having good equipment on the unit means quite a bit, actually, comparatively to not having good equipment. So yeah, generally speaking, I would say it's pretty good overall. But yeah, it's just going to be obviously entirely up to you. But like I said, try and grab this extra 1000 Z power. it'll be able to help you out somewhat, but yeah, equipment more so. But that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and bye.